This is part 25 of You Should Never Buy a Clayton Manufactured Home. And in this video, we're going to be exposing the fraudulent inspection report of the Vice President of NTA, Eric Tampas. But before we do, let's go back and see how many liars or criminals or criminal liars we have so far. And here's the first one. This is Jeffy Levy. He was the general manager of Clayton Homes. Jeffy Levy's lied so many times I can make a whole video out of it. But this lie right here also makes him a criminal, and this is it. And it says right here, I verify that I am a licensed installer, that I am responsible for the installation described, and that the information supplied is true and correct, executed this 16th day of August 2019, Jeffy Levy signed his name that he was the licensed installer. Jeffy Levy printed his name that he is the licensed installer. Jeffy Levy is not a licensed installer, and he was not the installer for this house. This is a falsified state document, and it's a crime. Isn't that right, Jeffy Levy? So we're going to put Jeffy Levy on the board for the first liar and Jeffy Levy for the first criminal. That makes him a criminal liar. And this was the installer. This is incompetent Gary Carr from Carr Mobile Home Service. And I wish I could put him on the board, but I can't. Because I have him on video admitting to the first consumer complaint inspector, tough guy Jimmy Turner, that he lost the will, destroyed the concrete foundation, and half of the block. And you got to wonder why all these other people are taking a fall for him. And here's the next lying criminal. This is Derek Scroggins from the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Manufactured Housing Division, and he did the installation inspection. And this is his installation report. Every one of these red X's indicate a lie. This is a state document, which makes this a crime. So, Derek Scroggins, you are a criminal liar. So we're just going to put Derek Scrotums on the board for the second liar and the second criminal. And here's the next one. This is Charles Grimey. He's the service manager of Southern Energy Homes. And let's look at his lies.
You can't include the eaves square footage.
So Charles Grimey, the service manager of Southern Energy Homes, just told me that you could add the eaves to the square footage of the house. That's a lie. Now he just said that the porch is added into the square footage of the house. That's also a lie.
Just like you're supposed to tell your cubs or anything else. Your hot is always on your right, your cold is always on your left.
So he just told me that your hot water is always on your right and your cold water is always on your left. That's a lie. Every faucet in this house, the cold water's on the right and the hot water's on the left. So that's another lie. So this next one's not a lie, but I just want you to see how competent this service manager is. Nope, it won't lock, he said. You think that the service manager of Southern Energy Homes would know that that lock is adjustable with two little screws. I bet you just love to have this guy be your service manager, right? It makes you kind of wonder how come there's so many problems with this house, huh? So we're going to put Charles Grimey on the board for the third liar. He's not going to make it over to the criminal side because being stupid is not a crime. And here's our next liar. This is Tamara Harper. She's the customer care manager for Southern Energy Homes, who had called us on November 5th, 2019, and she informed us that she was going to be sending out a third-party structural engineer from RCS Enterprises. In fact, he was so third-party, she didn't want us on her own property or even speaking with him. So Benny from RCS Enterprises showed up on November 8th, 2019. He did not provide us with a card, nor did he take any notes. And it turns out the only ones he did not know before this day were my wife and I. He knew everybody involved, right down to the repair crew, and he informed us that we would not be receiving a copy of his report. So I called RCS Enterprises out of Allen, Texas to find out if a Benny worked there. A Benny does work there, but he's only a home inspector, not a structural engineer. So this is Tamara Harper's lie. So we're going to put Tamara Harper, the customer care manager of Southern Energy Homes, on the board as being the fourth liar. So it was pretty clear to us what was going on here. So on November 25th, 2019, we sent a demand letter to Clayton Homes and Southern Energy Homes, and this is what we had asked for. Clayton Homes and Southern Energy Homes provide and properly install a new Magnolia manufactured home, the same make and model as the one currently on the property, and reimbursed for the costs incurred to date related to the defective home, or Clayton Homes and Southern Energy Homes remit payment of $200,000 as reimbursement for the cost of the home, the cost of the foundation pad, and various costs related to the defective home. So Clayton Homes and Southern Energy Homes have their own in-house liar attorney, Bent Wells, who responded to our demand letter, and this is it. And he writes that we have a wrist-wringing emotional demand about having allegedly received a manufactured home riddled with defects. It's not only grossly overstated, it's factually incorrect. So I want to know why he says that this is factually incorrect. This letter was written on December 18th, 2019. He did not come to this property until January 15th, 2020. These are the type of people you get to deal with if you buy one of these turds. Then he writes, if CAR was guilty of gross negligence in performing its installation functions, as you allege in the first paragraph of your letter, then I respectfully suggest that you will need to take up those concerns with CAR, an independent contractor. So if Clayton Homes liar attorney Bent Wells actually read the contract, he would have discovered that Jeffy Levy, the general manager of Clayton Homes, is the licensed installer, and he is responsible for the installation described. Clayton Homes liar attorney Bent Wells also accused me of having threatening, vulgar, abusive, violent, and racist behaviors, even though he had never met nor spoken to me. I even tried to bet him all the money Clayton Homes has paid him so far that I've hired more minorities in my business than he has in his. He wouldn't take me up on it. He also lied to the arbitrator because the arbitrator believes that my wife and I were the ones that filed for the first and second consumer complaint inspections. That's a lie. So we're going to put Clayton Homes liar attorney Bent Wells on the board as being the fifth liar, and we turned him into the Texas bar, and he can deal with them now. He also sent this letter where he accuses me of having threatening, vulgar, abusive, violent, and racist behaviors to the first consumer complaint inspector, tough guy Jimmy Turner, who had his badge on a chain around his neck. He stuck his chest out, and he was trying to show me how tough he was. I bet he's as tough as he is smart. Let's see.
Okay. What is this, the utility room?
This is the office.
Okay.
Utility room, right.
Okay, what are these little windows called here?
Transit windows. Transom.
Transom?
Yeah, transom. That's the word.
For small windows.
I never get tired of watching that. Now let's see if we can catch Tough Guy Turner telling any lies or committing any crimes.
You can't include the eaves, square footage.
Well, again, sir, this is manufactured housing. This is not site built, okay? They built now. They have to build these homes in accordance to their engineers, okay? They can't go to the factory and say, we're gonna build this for 34, we're gonna build the next for 36. They can't do that, okay? They have a group of engineers, it's called the adapters, okay? A group of designs well, this gentleman from the manufacturers tell you how they measure it. That's how they come up with this number. Okay, so if you're going from there to there, you're not gonna get the right number. That makes sense?
Well, I've been in construction for 40 years.
I understand that. Are you familiar with the HUD standard?
No.
Okay.
Did everybody hear what he just said? He asked me if I was familiar with the HUD standards that you could add the eaves and the porch to the square footage of the house. That's a lie. And it's also a crime. Isn't that right, Tough Guy Turner? So we're going to put Tough Guy Turner on the board as being the 6th liar and the 3rd criminal. Let's see what else he says.
Okay, well, this home was constructed to the HUD standards. It's night and day from site-built construction. In fact, these homes are built under more strenuous rules and laws because they have to be transported down the road.
So he said that these homes are built under more strenuous rules and laws because they have to be transported down the road. So I guess this is okay then, right, Tough Guy Turner?
He's already destroyed the slab in the front piece of the house. I wonder what he has in store for the back house. And there it is. He's missing a wheel. He's missing a wheel.
And I got $100 that says Tough Guy Turner can't spell strenuous. And his report was supposed to specify each of the consumer's complaints. He only documented 1% of the items we showed him. That's an abuse of official capacity, and it's a major crime. Right, Tough Guy Turner? Now, let's see who the next liar is.
It's getting a lot better.
Yeah, picture of it?
Yep.
Okay, anyone done anything? Where's Mr. Shorty?
Yeah, Shorty's guys were the ones
You got any
that...
information on this, alleged roof leak? Anybody got any information?
I don't have any. Shorty? Yes, sir. Did you fix any kind of a repair?
They just painted over the stains with the mess.
No, his guys put some...
We didn't do this.
So all we did was go out of that bedroom and straight into the bathroom. Let's see what he says now.
Much.
You want to go in this bathroom?
Yeah, well, I want to see everything you want me to see.
I thought my wife...
Everything you want me to see.
All right, this here, that never been sealed.
This was this?
Yes, that was on the list, whatever you come in to repair the ceiling. And
Shorty must have forgot that he just said he didn't do anything to the ceilings, right? So we're going to put Clayton Homes repair guy Shorty on the list for the 7th liar. And here's our next liar. This is Jimmy Hicks. He is the executive director at the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Manufactured Housing Division. He is the big boss. And he has absolutely no idea how to calculate the square footage of these homes because he signed his name to our original statement of ownership that has the incorrect square footage total on it. So we're going to put Jimmy Hicks, the executive director at the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Manufactured Housing Division, on the board for the 8th liar. And he is not going to like what's in these two notebooks. I can tell you that right now. And here is our next liar. This is Eric Franklin. He was the manager of licensing, enforcement, and installation. And this is his lie. He writes, "We investigated 2 warranty complaints and they have both been closed. The home was purchased by the consumer from Clayton Homes on September 18th, 2019, and it was installed on September 23rd, 2019. That's a lie. We purchased the home on August 16th, 2019. Is everybody at this place stupid? Construction site taco stands are ran better than this state agency. So we're going to put Eric Franklin on the board as the 9th liar. And here is the next liar. This is from this filthy criminal state inspector from the corrupt Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Manufactured Housing Division, disgusting Howard Delk, who came to my property during a pandemic, ordered 9 other people to accompany him. He continuously and repeatedly picked his nose, then had no problems touching anybody or anything. Nice, huh? Now this scumbag, disgusting Delk, dug in his nose, lied, and committed so many crimes that I'm going to make a whole video about it. And the lying executive director of the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Manufactured Housing Division, liar Jimmy Hicks, says that disgusting Delk is their most seasoned inspector. They got some problems, huh? Jimmy Hicks should really thank Clayton Homes liar attorney Bent Wells for lying to Tough Guy Turner. Tough Guy Turner should have done his job, but Bent Wells knew what he was doing. Now let's see if we can catch this scumbag lying or committed any crimes. Here's the first problem right here.
Okay.
Here's where he destroyed my $25,000 slab. Here's where the axle got stuck,
Yep.
right? We had to put a 2x4 or 2x6 down for him to get up here.
Okay. All right. Now, you know what this is? This is technically transportation damage.
Now that's a lie. Isn't it disgusting, Delk? Because the minute the house comes off the transportation truck, it becomes installation. So that also makes it a crime that you said that.
We got nails poking through it. We got a blood spot right there. Okay, right? And we showed Jimmy Turner. Now, you're going to ask me, first of all, would I like that if it was my house? What do you think I'd say? Yes, you would, right? Because that's your job. You're going to discredit me. That's why you're here. I would not like that. Now we're going to go to the state standard. The federal construction standard. Now, what would the federal construction standard say about that? That's what I have to go by. That's exactly what I have to go by and look at. What would the federal construction standard say about that? You think? They would say, it doesn't matter. You know, looking through the federal standard doesn't even say you have to have cabinets in the house. You don't even have to have cabinets in the house. They should be saying.
What he just said is a lie and a crime. So the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Manufactured Housing Division's most seasoned inspector, disgusting Delk, is an idiot. So we're going to put disgusting Delk on the board for being the 10th a liar and the 4th criminal. So the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Manufactured Housing Division make up 50% of the liars on my board. And they make up 75% of the criminals. You need to call your state legislators. You need to email your state legislators. You need to do whatever you need to do to get a hold of your state legislators. And you need to tell them that you do not want your tax dollars paying for this corrupt state agency. Now let's take a look at the Vice President of NTA, Eric Tampos's report. See if we can catch him lying or committed any crimes. Let's get started. This is the very first page of Eric Tampas's inspection report, and the very first sentence has its first problem where it says, I was retained by Wells and Collier, PC, on behalf of Southern Energy Homes Incorporated and Clayton Manufactured Homes Incorporated. Now, the Vice President of NTA, Eric Tampas, is well aware that he cannot be retained by the attorney of Southern Energy Homes and Clayton Homes, Bent Wells, because NTA is already the IPIA, the In-Plant Inspection Agency for this house. And if you're the IPIA for this house, independence is required. The inspector must be independent of the manufacturer, the retailer, the installer, and any other person that has a monetary interest. So being retained by the attorney of Southern Energy Homes and Clayton Homes is a huge problem for you. And if you are a professional engineer, like you say you are, why would you be asking Clayton Homes lawyer attorney Bent Wells about structural wood components of the home? Was that so liar Bent Wells could charge Clayton Homes $224? Maybe. Maybe this explains why it took you 6 months to write your report, huh? I'm going to have to wrap up part 25 because if the video's too long, these other social media platforms won't allow me to post it. So remember to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks for watching. See you in a couple weeks.